Welcome to the 200th episode of Not Another Cooking Show. And today I'm going to celebrate by doing what I love, which is obviously making pasta. Thank you all so much for being here for 200 episodes. It's a lot. It's been over 2 years. It's been an incredibly life-changing journey, and I thank you all for sticking with me. I'm just here making sure that more people are cooking today than there were yesterday, and quite frankly, what I've seen you guys been able to do and the messages you sent me, I couldn't be more prouder of what we've done with the show. Not just me, you guys as well. You keep me going, you're cooking the things we're actually making on the show, you're improving on your own, and it just keeps me going and it gets me excited. So thank you all. And what we're doing today in celebration is making a dish that is almost nostalgic. I remember it as a child from a can. We're making a red clam sauce. And this is actually a second version of spaghetti alle vongole, which is sort of the white bianco version of this dish. We're gonna make the rosso version, the red sauce version. If you know how to make the vongole we made in the past, which I'll link down below, and you know how to make weekday sauce, you really should be able to make this fairly easily. And if you've had either of the two, and you can just imagine how delicious it all comes together to become. And it all starts with beautiful clams. And the way that I store clams is when I get them out, I make sure that they're all live, which is just basically pinching them, and if they close, then they're alive. And you just cover them with a damp paper towel and throw them in the fridge. You don't want to suffocate them or keep them in water, that's going to kill them. And as you can see, that guy just closed. It was open. Let's see if we can show you. See, pinch him closed, and he closes. And so these were in the refrigerator for a day. This guy looks dead. He's not staying shut, which he should be. So I'm gonna toss this one. See how that stays shut? That's what you want. And now I'm pretty sure these are cockles. I thought they were little necks, but they're really small, they're the same. It doesn't matter, you can use little necks, cockles, whatever you want, and it should be all good. But the first thing I wanna do is get these washed. We're just gonna get these into a bowl. So you never really get all of the sand out, but you do your best you can. And so now these are ready to go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cook them like we did the last vongole, in the garlic and oil, a little wine, wait for them to open, transfer them out and keep the liquid. And then the only difference is we're gonna take them all out of the shell and chop them up real fine and then throw them back into the sauce. So we're gonna hold these off until we're ready to cook. So now we just gotta puree our can of tomatoes, whole peeled tomatoes. Like you know, if you've followed my channel, if you're new here, it's all about the tomatoes. Go check out my weekday sauce video. You really have to concentrate on getting tomatoes. And with a sauce like this, some cans of tomatoes are gonna be wetter, some are gonna be thicker, and that's really going to depend on how much sauce you get in the end. If the sauce is looser, you're probably gonna have less sauce in the end because you need to reduce a lot of that moisture out to create the right consistency. If I say this one can is enough for 3 or 4 servings of pasta, but you buy a can that's a lot more watery, that's gonna feed less people than this. So that's why I hate giving measurements, because it doesn't matter. You need to be able to say, I'm going to feed 4 people. I know this can of tomatoes is this consistency, that should be able to feed this amount of people that you're looking for. And that's essentially what I do. So I know that this can should be enough to feed at least 3 people with a lot of sauce and 4 people kind of stretching the sauce as much as possible. So we're gonna get this in and we're gonna puree it in our food mill like we always do. Make a nice passata. Now you got a beautiful tomato puree. It's gonna make a great sauce. Now we just got a few cloves of garlic and we'll just slice those up real thin. So now we have all of our ingredients. We've got our clams, we've got sliced garlic, some red chili flake, our passata, some fresh basil, a little white wine, and some spaghetti. This will probably feed a pound of spaghetti, but I have a few open packets, so I just threw these together, and this is probably 2 to 3 portions right here. So I'm gonna have a good deal of sauce for this, which I kind of wanted. I wanna have a little extra sauce. If you make a pound, you probably get a little less sauce on top for each one. Now this is a great recipe right now because apparently there's a meat shortage, and seafood is actually really affordable and cheap right now. So I like the idea of getting some good fish and then incorporating it into some Italian recipes. It is spring, it's nice, getting nice out. It's time to get that little vibe going. So let's just jump on over to the stove and make this dish. Get the pan on medium-high heat and then add enough olive oil to coat the bottom of the pan. Then add the garlic and red chili flake and cook that for a minute or 2. Once the garlic begins to slightly brown, you can add the clams, but be careful because they're wet and you're adding something wet to hot oil. Cook it for a minute or 2 and then turn the heat off, then add the white wine. Get the heat back on, bring that up to a boil, and then you can throw a lid on the pan and then start to steam the clam. How long you cook them will depend on how big they are. These were unexpectedly small, so they took about 2-3 minutes to cook. Once you see a few start opening, then you can start to kind of hand pick them as they open so that you know they're perfectly cooked. If any don't open, then you toss them out. Add them to a bowl lined with a strainer so you can separate the clams from their liquid and then add the liquid back into the sauce later. Reduce that remaining liquid down for a minute or 2 before adding the tomatoes just to concentrate that flavor. Then lower the heat and add the tomatoes, some fresh basil, and as you can see, this is a pretty loose mixture. Right now we just want to reduce that down until it's the perfect consistency for a tomato sauce. If it's splattering everywhere, just lower the heat. While that cooks, we can shuck the clams and give them a quick chop. Now I didn't mean to get cockles, and these are rather small clams. So this is probably the minimum amount of clams you'd probably need in a sauce like this. So feel free to get more if you like. This is 1.5 pounds, so 2 to 2.5 pounds probably works in this recipe. Right now I can see the sauce is almost at the right consistency, so I can get the pasta starting to cook. Just season the pasta water with some salt and then drop the pasta. This pasta cooks in 10 minutes, so I'm going to cook the pasta for 9 minutes and then cook the pasta for the remaining minute in the sauce. Once the sauce is at the right consistency, you can kill the heat and wait for the pasta to finish cooking. Get the heat back on and start to marry the sauce with the pasta. Add the chopped up clams and the remaining clam juice and then just mix it all together until it's perfectly al dente and the pasta has absorbed all of that sauce. Beautiful. 2 plates or not 2 plates. Let's see how a plate looks. It's a beautiful thing. So you get a nice clean seafood taste. Nothing too strong, nothing fishy at all. You get a little nice bite of the clam every now and then, but primarily it's sauce that's flavored by the clam jus. I think I used about 1.5 pounds of clams, and you could probably go 2 to 2.5 pounds of clams depending on how many people you're feeding. I wouldn't necessarily recommend cockles, but they are nice and sweet and tender. So the smaller the clam you get, the more tender and sweet it's gonna be, generally speaking. I've done my work for today. Now it's time to enjoy. Wow, 200 episodes. Man, I never thought I would make 200 episodes of YouTube videos. So this is cool. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to all my patrons who have supported me all this way. You have no idea how impactful your help has been. Thanks to everyone who has been watching. You all really play a part in this whole organization and you really help me out, and I thank you for your continued support. I think maybe I might do like a Q&A next episode. So if you want to drop down any questions you might have in the comments, then feel free to do so and I'll try to answer them in the next episode. Anyway, that's all that I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.